Welcome to Tigrai Media House. My name is Melekti Brahana. It's been more than 2 years of destruction in Tigray, more than 800,000 civilian deaths, according to the UN. Infrastructure has been destroyed. Hospitals and schools have been destroyed. The looting, the rape, the massacre. But finally, the most recent information is that Eritrean troops are finally leaving Tigray. The images that are coming out of Tigray showed truckloads of Eritrean mercenaries with looted goods that include everything, including jerrycans and plastic chairs. Reportedly, as they leave Tigray, they're taunting Tigrayans and singing songs and holding signs saying game over. There's immense pain among Tigrayans, most of them who feel silenced and abused. Tigrayans in the diaspora, however, continue to do their part. And one of the most important roles is continuing to tell the stories about what is happening in Tigray. And music has been one of our greatest storytellers. Today's guest is no stranger to that cause, Q Rap. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Melita. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. You did the infamous TDF song that had even our grandparents, our elders, for the first time appreciating rap. You followed that up with a very, very successful Wa'ro, which was an ode to the women who are fighting for their freedom.
Absolutely.
Really another beautiful song. Your music is really incredible, not just because of the melody or the hooks, which are really good also, but it's because you're giving us a history lesson in all of your songs. And that is really, really powerful. Tell us a little bit about your creative process and how you put these stories together. And also when you're telling us about that, tell us why it was so important for you to tell these stories like TDF and like Wa'ro, and these stories that tell the history of what's happening now, but even the past in Tigray.
The thought process during making the music, I'm a very emotional person. You can tell in my music. I take everything from different things, from family to the stories that we hear, or the suffering of my diaspora Tagarus, my friends, the artists that work with me, and I just channel everybody's pain and try to imagine what each of them might be going through, and I just change it to a poem. I take it really tough on me sometimes, to the point I can't sleep. So I usually just end up creating in the middle of the night when everything is quiet. Why I do it is because I feel like we gotta have a very forgiving heart historically. I mean, we all know we are the muscle of that nation. We have always been historically, and every invasion came through us. We were the first ones to die, the first ones to defend the nation. We are the muscle. We have always been the muscle, and we have always paid the price. And since I know this, I feel like maybe, peace is one of the things we've been fighting for, right? To resolve this in a peaceful way. But then that doesn't mean we have to forget what has been done to our people. Peace is good. We can all have the peace. But forgetting what happened, it is I take that as if letting down the next generation, just like it happened before. And so for me, I feel like maybe I could tell the stories. Music usually stick around for longer, books as well as film. So I felt like, since I'm good at doing the music, maybe I could imprint the stories, and then YouTube will have it, carry it for however long, and it will reach out to audience, to the next generation. And then we can keep this in mind.
That's really powerful. You said forgetting is letting down the next generation. Truer words have never been said. This is our issue. I think what caught so many Tigrayans off guard was that we didn't understand the complexity and the history and what's been done before. This isn't the first genocide on the people of Tigray. And unfortunately, that message wasn't passed down enough. There's a a part of the Tigrayan culture that's just, kind of just take it to the chin and it's okay and keep moving and keep your. But you're absolutely right. We shouldn't forget. Your new album is called What They Did to Us. Really powerful title. There are 13 tracks. It's a mix of English and Tigrinya, and you have a lot of Tigrayan features or artists that are on the album with you. I was surprised to see so many collaborations. I didn't even realize we have that many artists out there with this talent. Some of them are more recognizable. You have Mudcub on the album. Everybody knows who Mudcub is. And there's a number of others who are recognizable, but there were people who weren't as recognizable. Tell me about how that came together and how you found all of these people. Did they find you? How did the collaborations happen? How did it all come together?
So when I first started the album, it was a challenge. I wanted to challenge myself. I'm like, look, I always write music. I'm every day listening to beats. I could do an album within 120 days. So the first thing I did was tell my sound engineer, and of course, he's like, yes, we can do it. And at first, it was about my ego, like I'm gonna show them what I could do. My competition obviously has been to the other side of the Ethiopian artists who's been silent throughout the 2 years genocide. As an artist, I really did expect from them something positive from them, but it wasn't the case. If anything, they did the opposite, encourage the war more, and he also but along the process when I was creating in TYLV here in Las Vegas, we have a group, the youth here, TYLV, which I met when I was doing TDF Saga music video. They were just in the music video, never told me they do music, but slowly and surely when we became friends, I realized they have the talent. In fact, some of them better than me. And so I just started sending beats and ideas for songs. So towards mid-album, I decided to make the album a collaborative album with different artists. I got Mulu, who Tigrai, very talented, and Pure Brook, 23X, Caleb, and then of course Nantagarus will be DG, who produced the album, and Timothy Pleasant. So I figured giving them that chance, each of the young ones, because I know the frustration exists in every Tigray here in diaspora. So because I see them, protesting in every, DC everywhere. So when I give them this beats and verse ideas, they all, put in what they felt in the song, and lo and behold, they did have something to say, and it was just a very good family movement almost for me. Like we just became so close. We tell each other all we felt and everything. So it was a blessing.
Wow. You said it became a family movement that started out as ego. First of all, that's really impressive that you can have that kind of humility and say that. But I hope that I think a lot of what we're recognizing is the problems in Tigray and the solutions as well are going to have to come from us coming together and Tagaru coming together and collaborating. And so that's really powerful. Is there a particular collaboration or someone you worked with that really stood out, or is there a favorite collaboration? I probably shouldn't put it that way because I'm sure they're all good and there are stories with everyone. But is there one in particular that stood out to you?
I mean, throughout the album, of course, the creative process is always, the emotion is the same height, the same level. But one of the songs that I really wanted to try to put some Tigrinya creativity to it, because I was never known to do Tigrinya music before. So what they did to us, the main song of the album, it was a creative process where me, the engineer, Mulu, Caleb, young Caleb Adane, as well as I think I'm the last one. Yeah, that song was good because the lyrics that I came up with, even though it was short, it was meaningful. Kaps almat naps almat kewaga hamidri, kaltifa de katahab hagar katafari. Like we were saying earlier, every time historically, the mothers of Tigray have always been in pain, loss. We've never had a break. We've never, ever, for over 100 years, we never had a break. Like we said, maybe they didn't label it genocide, but this genocide has been happening for a long time. That's why we are 6, 7 million right now, or minus 1 million now that in the past 2 years they killed, and so that this whole process was put to that Tigrinya verse in my heart. I wanted to say something in Tigrinya to our people where they can understand what I'm saying and why I feel that way. So that song stood out above all the songs at the beginning.
Wow. We're going to play just a piece of that song, and it is the title of the album, but also the song track, What They Did to Us. So we'll play just a minute of that right now, and then we'll be right back.
This is what they did to us. With such a cruel day. I can't move on. Lemon, how can I move on? Damn moves. Yeah, good devil, my cake. Such a words to say. I can't move on. Lemon, how can I move on? Damn moves.
Kazan napsan mat kay wega hamidri. Kadima de katihib hagar kitafri adaye. Ruruh libad miamuwa weladi taye. Ado tarikh sawar kullu qaribi yutinaslu. Binabhat ndam zitas dazamarit. بصفرنا نبلم عدنا نزح شهوت. زحي توتعنا مسكر زحم بباخي. حليفهم يوم لقانو تاجمي انتنا أخي.
What They Did to Us is the title of the album, and it's like you said, it's sort of like an ode to the mothers. It's an ode to the defenders of freedom. It's really beautiful, and you do a really good job of articulating why we fight back, which I think is sometimes difficult. We get challenged a lot because we're fighting for survival, because Tigrayans are fighting for survival. It's a fight you can't defeat. You can't defeat that fight, and so. But we get criticized a lot. Why did you title the album What They Did to Us? What does that mean?
Well, even though I knew from early on I could never make a full album, which the album has 14 songs, I knew it would be unlikely for me to talk about it from song 1 to song 14 about the same subject. Of course, sometimes people need to heal through the music. Put some love song in there. We've got some fun clubbing songs and stuff. But I made sure 6 of the songs were related to Tigray. And one of my reasoning is that everybody was like, you could have titled this album with this name and that. And I was like, well, I want this album, my fans and whoever ever gets hooked to my music, to always remember that I had an album called What They Did to Us, and then made sure the artwork had a story to tell from the background. On the other side, showing the pain and the struggle. The other side here, diaspora fighting sleepless with everything they got to save their people. And so I felt like maybe not today, but 10 years or 15 years from now, that album will be something like, hey, we had an artist that actually told a story in the album instead of just, giving us music about clubbing and whatnot.
Absolutely. And it is definitely a story. I want you to kind of describe the feel that you were going for with the album, because I listened to all of the tracks and sometimes I was in tears, like the verse we just heard with from What They Did to Us. Sometimes I was enraged, I was angry. Sometimes I was really, really proud, and then there were parts where I felt really good, the songs that you sing to Tigrayan women. But what really struck me is still, it felt like a love story to Tigray. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you know what I'm saying by that, but, not the typical way people think of a love story with hearts and candies and, that kind of stuff. But it felt like, you were comforting the mothers, you were uplifting the women, you were, hugging your brother. I mean, it was beautiful. And at the same time, you were still letting your enemy know what's up. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, but it was beautiful. And you pray hard in those lyrics. And I don't know if that is going to be obvious to people, but it certainly was obvious to me that you were praying for the people of Tigray in a very powerful way. So describe what you were going for, like in terms of the feel, how you wanted people to feel listening to the songs.
I aimed for a wide audience, of course. When we did a song called Mercy, it's about, I pray about the pain, and not only for Tigrayans, but even to the other side, I say, have mercy on your people and our people as well. So I was trying to tell everybody in each song what they did to us, to remind, like a memory thing. And who's the Satan? It was to the religious leaders that were holding crosses and sending soldiers to kill and rape and exterminate us, like word for word. They used that we were weed, we were so many things. And so who the Satan was for the religion leaders. Songs like Taibela was for us to understand the difference between politics and the livelihood of our people. Politics, we can argue about it. We can always have different opinions, different political party that we can support, but never turn your back on your people based on politics, emotion of politics, which I often see, especially in the past 3-4 months. Tagaru not, getting along and everything. So I was aiming for everybody in this album, and I also wanted to tell stories about our beautiful women who deserves love song instead of bullets and death and rape. I was trying to put mixed emotions. I don't want to drive the audience towards only pain, but hey, look, don't forget this happened. But I also want you to know there's songs about you that's fun. Mtoto with Marka Bonitwa is in Kiswahili, English, and Tigrinya. And I did that to make sure to introduce my language, my culture, to the rest of African nations who don't know us. They know us just as Ethiopians, even though we are the cradle of everything in Ethiopia. We are the most forgotten, the most dying people, the most backstabbed people. And so those emotions were all bubbled up in that album to make sure, okay, you can have fun on this side. Here's my song, but make sure you listen to what I said about what's happening to us, what we can do.
I really love that you had Swahili on the album too. I was like, did he really do that? You know what I mean? Like you made so many smart choices and figured out ways to bring in a new audience. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, introduce them to our culture and to the people. I thought that was really smart. And it's a really good song. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like makes you want to just dance. It's beautiful. I want to ask one more question around faith, because maybe because I also personally really felt this, but in Immortals, the very first song, I think, the way you opened it up, it kind of harkens back to the Mazmur and church. And, it was really, really beautiful. And I was struck by the beauty of it, but I was more struck by the fact that the people in Tigray have unshakable faith. It's incredible. It's not even, I'm going to admit, I don't understand that level of faith. Do you know what I mean? Phone lines have been opening up slowly, periodically, and then they go off again or whatever. But we've fortunately been able to reach some people, and their faith, it's almost painful how, you know what I mean? And that's probably a personal thing I have to deal with, but it's unshakable. And in your song, Mercy, you say you feel like you're drowning. And I want to read this, and I'm going to read in Tigrinya, so, bear with me. But you said, Nib'at Adey, Havasale. You're going to say it after I'm done, okay? So you could do it better than I do. But Hagos Hizbe, say it. Agrabale?
Agrabale, yes.
Agrabale. Kabdi Hitsanat? Agatsale. Okay, you say it now because I made a mess of that verse, but you say it.
I don't know if I can remember them in order, but yes, I say Hagos Hizbe Agrabale, meaning that it's been too long, make it, whatever this is, let it be done. His Agabale. Yes, the hungry kids. I just like you said, faith. Our people have that. level of faith. And it will be so disrespectful of me to never consider that when I do my music, regardless of what I believe, or religion-wise, I mean. I have huge respect, to the religions of my people, whatever my people believe in. And it is that level of faith that is have been the anchor of who we are. And we have always, our parents, our people have always used that faith to God to also forgive, which have been backlashing, regardless of how they see it. But nevertheless, I figured I could talk the way they talk. I know my mama prays to God. I know she don't get frustrated with God. I know that for sure. That's the only thing you ever hear from our parents, regardless of what they're going through, hunger, drought, every time. Mehlala, I remember when I was a kid, there was a thing called mehlala, which is mothers will come out and will go in circle praying for rain when I was a kid. So that level of faith have always been imprinted in me. My father was almost a priest in Orthodox Church, so I just figured I could speak in the most respectful way for my people.
My father was also almost a priest. He got all the way through Bible college and, started a church here where I am in Colorado and led that church for a long time until we had an actual priest who came here from back home. So I know what you mean. He would be up at 3 a.m. and I could hear him reading his dawit, reciting his dawits and praying over holy water. And then he would come and wake us up with the holy water. And we're just like, Dad, are you really doing this right now? But their faith is so unshakable. And some of that has come to us. But I don't know if it's just because we're so far removed and we're in a country that doesn't have that same emphasis, you know what I mean? And doesn't build your faith the same way. But it is a double-edged sword, because I do feel like their faith is what got them through. And, because there was not enough food, there was not enough medicine, there was not enough. I mean, your bullets are raining and bombs are dropping, and though the destruction and the death was significant, so many did survive that. And how did they survive that? Do you know what I mean? Like, you think about that and they're going to tell you their stories of faith, when they talk about how they survived it. And so it is really powerful. And at the same time, religion has been used to oppress people as well, in terms of, just forgive it, turn the other cheek, and, don't fight back. That's not what God would want you to do. And so it's an interesting, but the prayer, I felt like it was a prayer for our families, and it was really well done. Tell me what's next for you. What's next? You did this album in 120 days, first of all, which is crazy to me. I can't believe that you could pull this together with so many people in such a short amount of time. That's amazing. But what's next for you?
Well, I mean, the album did what it did, what I wanted to do. Now we are aiming for double album by Christmas. I'm gonna do one Tigrayan full album and one mixed with English and stuff with other American artists. The plan is, like I was saying earlier, I don't want to keep going back to it, but we've been dying and our language has been dying. I love Gwaila. Gwaila music is powerful. It's been ever since Tigray was existed, and it's gonna be as long as we're around, right? Gwaila is a very powerful genre of music, which we all love. But one thing that hurt me is that it never got past our neighboring regions. Maybe them even will pick up the Balam word or whatever word they feel like. Even though they dance to it, they don't know what we're saying. They've never understood the pain that we talk in Tigrayan songs, in Gwaila songs. Like so many artists, like Merkab Bonitwa, Amani Liamana, Ephraim, or everybody have done amazing, touching songs, but they've never touched nobody. Our neighboring country, Eritrea, maybe might understand what we're saying, but they never cared about it. My thing right now is to introduce my language. Even if it means to my last dollar, I'll make music with different artists, with Spanish artists, with anybody, to introduce my language to the world. So at least our language can survive and who we are can be known by everybody else. We are incredible people. We are humble people. We are faithful people. I've never met any Tigray that will, watch you die or burn you alive. So I just want to make sure that not only do I want us to be known for bravery, but I also want us to know the world to know that we're kind, and we yes, we're poor, but we're kind. We're good people.
That's really powerful. We don't just want to be known for our bravery, because that is the story that's often told. Like, we're superhumans, and we're not. We're fighting for survival, and that's why the Tigrayan fight can't be broken. But also the extreme kindness, and there's so many examples of that, even within the last couple of years, with what's been happening. But that is a huge mission, sharing our language and making sure it doesn't die, and mixing and collaborating with completely different cultures, like you did with the Swahili on this album, and you said Spanish, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I think you could do something good with that.
We're gonna have even the dance. I'm planning on introducing what was it? Auras, whatever dances we have. I can just collide both Tigrinya genre music and hip hop together and create a kind of new genre, and then introduce those things to different cultures around in Africa or outside. So it's gonna be a tough journey, but it's worth it. Every fight is worth it, and I'm always gonna be around doing that.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a way to mix that with like Afro beats, and people love Afro beats now, and that's relatively new.
I'm dropping full Tigrinya song single probably in a month and a half.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he loves it too. My engineer doesn't know what I'm saying. It's fully Tigrinya. and he's like, I don't know what you're saying.
I love it. That's going to be good. Well, we'll be here to support you. Speaking of support, how do people support you? Your album is available on Apple Music?
Apple Music, iTunes. I think in every platform, although I know we Tagaro not towards that kind of online purchasing culture. But Tagaro have been kind. The reaction to it was good. People even offered in doing GoFundMe and everything, but I don't want to be that kind of. I didn't need that kind of help. What I needed was for people to purchase for $14.99 the album, because if I say go ahead, GoFundMe, everybody's gonna send 200, 300 extra money, and I don't want that. I would rather them do fundraisings for different things. But listen to my album. If you can get it, you can get it. Even on my website, www.modbmusic.com. You can easily purchase it from there, or iTunes or Apple Music. So I could do some amazing projects. I'm also going to do filming. We'll talk about it next time when I do.
Absolutely. Say your website again slower.
www.modb.com. I'm sorry, modbmusic.com.
modbmusic.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Well, if there's anything else you want to say, I'm going to give you the last word. And then when you're done, we're going to close it out with Taibele. We're going to play as much of that as we can. That might be my favorite song. I feel like that embodies everything that we've been talking about in this interview, in terms of this being a love story to Tigray, but also a history story. I mean, that is like, you talk about the message in that song is beautiful. And it's Taibele featuring, how do you say the name? Radov Leo?
Radov Leo, that's my boy.
Yeah. Very, very beautiful song. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out?
If anything, I want to say Jonah, we've come this far. And I hope this peaceful transition goes smooth for us so we can go back to our family. But like we said earlier, we're resilient. We'll get past through this. We just got to work together for better growth, to heal our people, to art, supporting in person where we can travel back home and then help our people and heal as much as we can, heal their wounds as much as we can.
Absolutely.
So much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Q. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your music, and music is healing. Absolutely. So we're going to close out with Taibele.
ስደት ክፉ كفؤ لبي ولا تتخالله أيرخبكو نابز عالم كم أزبله تقرأ عد تاريخ عد وحله عد سابع عد لولا طعم تفره عد خلو لوه لبي عقابي تخبدي دكا خلهم جاقانو تتحلو تعدي تاريخ أخصم تاريخ عدوى جاقنا تفري دحر فتاري نتهقارو اي تخوري يا أنه وتامرز رمسي يا مدري بوليتيكا نبجباقا حق نزارب نعم دينا كلمة لهم نزل عالم نتعارق حدقين الكان هقري لين On the back of my people I see the hilltop shining We ain't never been equal They better ask stopping
ገዛና ዘላል ዓባይ ሳግላ ዓብይን ህፃንን ደኺሙ ዘዕርፈላ ገበርቲ እከይም ብሓዊ ደብረ ሙላ ምስክር እምነተይ ማሕተበ ተቓፂላ ግን ነዲዳ ምራበይዶ ፍሒማ እኳይ ወደቐትና ሃበት ኔዳ ንትንሳኤ ትቃለስ ብርሃን ክትፈጥር ማዕተብ ከሳደይ ዘላለም ከተነብር መንነተይ ተቓፂሉ ባለይ ክደባለ ፀሓይና ባዕለይ ይዕሪበ ፀሓይ እንዳማተይ ከብርቕ እምነተይ ከቢረ መንነተይ ከጥፍእ ኣብ ገዛ ርስተይ ርእሰይ ክደፍእ ዳዊት እዩ ምስክረይ ንጎላድ ዝሰዓረ እዋን ፅፉዕ ሒዙ ኣብ ፅላት ኣምላኽ ዘፅለለ ርስተይ ትትንከፍ እምበር ኣይትፈርስን ቁፅላ ረግፍ እምበር ኣይትዘራ ኣይውዳእን ጠፊኦም ክብሉና መሊስና ንስስን ክልተ ዲያብሎስ ምኽር ተወዓሉ ኣባጊዕ ተመሲሎም እንከሶም ተኳሉ ማኸል ጥሪተያትዮም ደባዬ ከጥሙ ባይቶ ገዛናንዶ ኣመና ለቢሙ
On the back of my people I see the hilltop shining
عدال معوفي كيبلت عدو تقرا حزو وانت ملسا نبزي تركسل سلمات يا ودي غازلا سكا معادنا موت في مكن كلو سكا معادنا ناتو كبلو غنستاق عير الدنن